Good morning, my friends at Friendly Hills Middle School. Today marks the very 1st of May, hence it is Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Since the pandemic began, we want to particularly bring attention to and condemn the violence and hatred directed at the Asian American and Pacific Islander communities, while also making a space to create joy, healing, education, and celebrations for the richness of Asian and Pacific Islander cultures. Some different ways you can partake in celebrating this amazing month are by researching the history of Asian American and Pacific Islander cultures, trying a new craft like origami with Asian roots, order takeout food from your favorite Asian restaurant, or by reading a book with connections to Asian or Pacific Islander cultures and history. Today, I will be sharing 6 different books that we have here in our library that do exactly that. The first book I'll be talking about today is called Inside Out and Back Again by Thang Ha Lai. This novel is actually a series of short poems based on real-life experiences and events of the author. Though she uses a different name, Inside Out and Back Again is the story of a year in the life of Kim Ha, all told from the perspective of a 10-year-old girl who flees Vietnam with her mother and brothers, all in hopes of escaping the Vietnam War and building new and safer lives for themselves in the United States. These series of short poems show a very sparse and honest narrative that follows Kim Ha as she leaves behind the only home she's ever known to travel by boat to America. She may have left war behind, but plenty of difficulty still awaits her and her family as they struggle to find their footing in the United States. At the end of the year, though, as the book ends, they're finally getting their bearings together and all holding on to hope that this life will keep getting better. If you are interested in taking a peek into Thang Ha's journey with her family coming to the United States and all of the trials that they face, come check out Inside Out and Back Again in the library. The next book I'll be sharing is actually a battle book of this year called Front Desk. This fiction book is also based on Kelly Yang, the author's real-life experiences. In her author's notes, she explains how situations in the story evolved from her growing up as a family of immigrants and helping her parents manage 3 hotels in California. Every day while her parents are cleaning the rooms, 10-year-old Mia manages the front desk of the Cala Vista Motel and tends to its guests. But there is one catch. Her parents hide immigrants. And if the mean hotel manager, Mr. Yao, finds out that they've been letting them stay in the empty rooms for free, her family will be doomed. Mia has always wanted to be a writer, but how can she when her mom thinks that she should stick to math because English is not her first language? It will take all of Mia's courage, kindness, and hard work to get through this year. Will she be able to hold on to her job, help the immigrants and the guests, escape Mr. Yao, and go for her dreams? Read Front Desk to find out. And the next book I will be talking about is called Stand Up, Yumi Chung. This is a fiction novel by Jessica Kim about a young girl named Yumi Chung who suffers from shy girl problems, a perm gone wrong, and kids calling her You Meat because she smells like her family's Korean barbecue restaurant. On the inside, she is ready for her next Netflix stand-up special. Her notebook is filled with mortifying memories that she's reworked into comedy gold. All she needs is a stage and a little bit of courage. Instead of spending the summer studying her favorite YouTube comedians, Yumi is enrolled in a test prep tutoring to qualify for a private school scholarship, which will help in a time of hardship at the restaurant. One day after class, Yumi stumbles on an opportunity that will change her life forever. A comedy camp for kids, taught by one of her very favorite YouTube comedians. The only problem is that her instructor and all of the fellow students think that she's a girl named Kei Nakamura, and Yumi doesn't correct them. As this case of mistaken identity unravels, Yumi must decide to stand up and reveal the truth or risk losing her dreams and disappointing everyone she cares about. Follow along to see where Yumi's story goes in Stand Up, Yumi Chung. The next two books I'll be sharing are both graphic novels. This first one I'll be sharing is called American Born Chinese. This is written by Jin Lung Yang. In this graphic novel, all Jin Wing wants is to fit in. When his family moves to a new neighborhood, he suddenly finds that he is the only Chinese American student at his entire school. Jocks and bullies pick on him constantly, and he hardly has any friends. Then, to make matters even worse, he falls in love with a popular girl at school. Born to rule over all the monkeys in the world, the story of the Monkey King is one of the oldest and greatest Chinese fables. Adored by his subjects, master of the arts of Kung Fu, he is the most powerful monkey on earth. But the Monkey King doesn't want to be just a monkey. He wants to be hailed as a god. Lastly, Chin Qi is the ultimate negative Chinese stereotype, and he's ruining his cousin Danny's life. Danny is a popular kid at school, but every year, Chin Qi comes to visit, and every year, Danny has to transfer to a new school to escape the shame. This year, though, things quickly go from bad to even worse. These three apparently unrelated tales come together with an unexpected twist. In a modern fable that is hilarious, poignant, and action-packed, American Born Chinese is an amazing rise, all the way up to the astonishing climax. To learn how these stories connect, read the graphic novel, American Born Chinese. And the second graphic novel I'll be sharing today, we actually have it on order since it is a very new book, but wait for it for next fall in the library because it will be here then. I still wanted to highlight it today just because of the amazing reviews it's getting and the stories and history that it depicts of what actually happened in the United States back then. This graphic novel follows Kiku. Kiku is on vacation in San Francisco when suddenly she finds herself displaced to the 1940s Japanese-American internment camps that her late grandmother, Ernestina, was forcibly relocated to during World War II. These displacements keep occurring until Kiku finds herself stuck back in time. Living alongside her young grandmother and other Japanese American citizens in internment camps, Kiku gets the education she never received in history class. She witnesses the lives of Japanese Americans who were denied their civil liberties and suffered greatly, but managed to cultivate community and commit acts of resistance in order to survive. To find more about the rest of this graphic novel, keep updated and we'll have it soon in the library. Lastly, today I will be sharing about the book Darius the Great is Not Okay. In interviews, the author Adib Khorram discusses the importance of destigmatizing mental health for teens, as well as just having conversations about immigration politics and self-identity as a teen. The main character, Darius Kellner, suffers from depression, bullying by high school jocks, and a father who seems to always be disappointed in him. When Darius's grandfather becomes terminally ill, Darius, along with his parents and younger sister, travel to Iran for the very first time in his life. Iranian on his mother's side and white American on his father's side, he never quite fits in. He's mocked for his name and nerdy interests at Chapel Hill High School in Portland, Oregon, but doesn't speak enough Farsi to communicate with his Iranian relatives either. When he arrives in Iran, learning to play the Persian card game Rook, socializing and celebrating Nowruz with a family he had never properly met before is all overwhelming and leaves Darius wondering if he'll ever truly belong anywhere. But all of that changes when Darius meets Sohrab, a Baha'i boy. Sohrab teaches Darius what friendship really is all about: loyalty, honesty, and someone who has your back in a soccer match. For the very first time in a long time, Darius learns to love himself no matter what external forces attempt to squash his confidence. This novel is filled with insight into the lives of teens and the problems that they face, weaving together the reality of living with mental illness while also dealing with identity and immigration politics. This is definitely a book I would recommend to all middle schoolers. And that wraps up my book talk for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. I hope that you can take this time to learn, celebrate, and honor all of the beautiful contributions that the rich history and culture bring to the United States today. Have a wonderful day.